What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are feeling blessed today. We are super honored and blessed to have Robert Cubria from Tecnafert. He came all the way from Spain to Miami-Dade County to do some work, and one of the stops that he had was to come here on the Plant One podcast and talk about what he's been working on for the past 17 years with his colleagues. He came with a whole group of people here, and just what they have found and invented. You guys need to really listen to this episode if you are in the green industry and you want to learn. All right. I can't believe that there are people like this that walk amongst us with this amount of knowledge, completely different than being a business owner. This guy, what he does is love. That's what he does. He loves and he shows passion towards just the green industry as a whole, agriculture, horticulture, where he's not putting money first or on a pedestal at all. That comes later, okay? He wants to show results and then the money comes later. Incredible episode. He only speaks Spanish, so we did this whole episode in Spanish. Eddie was able to dub this episode using AI. So basically it transformed our voices from Spanish into English. So my voice is gonna sound a little bit different. I'm gonna sound like a guy straight from Hialeah. If you're from Miami, you know what that is. Nonetheless, guys, the information is on another level. We did talk about a lot of things that some people might not be happy with that we touched on, but the industry needs to hear this stuff. But one of the big things we talked about is how he would love to work on the citrus situation in the state of Florida. You guys know how that is and how citrus is dying. For those of you who don't know, they have to replace the plants every 3 to 5 years because they stop producing fruit. He says he knows how to fix it, and it's not bringing in a bunch of chemicals or a bunch of different nitrates and stuff. It is letting the plant do its own thing by giving it what God brought to the earth for it to have. We call out Ron DeSantis in this just to create some traction where Eddie can do some clips and we can throw it out on social media, see if it gets some traction, because I would love for this podcast to be, let's say, one of the vessels that puts this man in front of the eyes that need to see this and hear this to be able to make an impact for the state of Florida and everyone that listens. We're going to jump right in. Enjoy the episode. If you have any questions or comments or anything, feel free to reach out. The Plant Movement Podcast on Instagram. You can also email us at Eddie, Eddie, or Willie, Willie, at theplantmovementnetwork.com. All right, guys. God bless you. Let's jump right in. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Plant Movement Podcast. I am your host, Willie Rodriguez. I hope you guys are having an awesome fire day with whatever you got going on. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Today's going to be a little bit different. We have someone that came all the way from Spain that is a business partner, but he's a scientist, but he's a business partner in this new technology that they're creating. And they have created in universities over there. They're bringing it to the United States. It's called Tecnafert. We have Mr. Robert here with us today. So, Roberto, ¿cómo está? Gracias,
Pues muy bien,
gracias por estar aquí.
Yes. Basically, we want to talk to the people who are listening and let them know where you come from. Okay? Your background, that you are a scientist, how you came to do that, where that love came from, and then what did you create? And now for this company, what exactly are the plans and
Okay,
how are
perfect.
we moving forward?
Well, all of this originated from a university project in Spain, at one of the universities we have on the Mediterranean coast, of which, well, I have been a part for quite a number of years. So for us in Europe, this project actually started 17 years ago. 17 years ago, we were already facing a serious problem we're having at a productive level. We are evidently a very, very old continent, and we've been producing agriculture for many, many years. What's happening? What we have been observing over the last 20, 25 years is that the degradation of the primary element used for agricultural production, which is mainly the soil, it's enormous, truly enormous.
It's in the process
Yes,
of
no.
changing.
In fact, the soils are already barren. They don't possess sufficient nutritional elements.
The soil has been severely overexploited for hundreds of years. So we have a very, very significant problem.
Since the First World War began, there was a significant change in the world, in the way fertilizers were used. Up until that moment, chemical fertilizers were not used. At that moment, the use of chemical fertilizers began for a reason. what do we do with chemical industry waste? Well, we use them. Where do we leave them? We leave them in the field. So it all begins in that phase, right? They were left in the field, and it was observed that evidently one way to nourish the crops was by applying chemical elements, and the fields responded well. What's happening? We've been for many years now, for centuries. In other words, applying chemical fertilizer. What's happening? That chemical fertilizer isn't exactly good, nor is it. Well, I think it's a little bit bad, right? But I'll give you the reason why I believe it's bad. Okay. It's quite complex because actually for us it truly formed the fundamental basis of our entire study, specifically investigating why those chemical fertilizers, were proving to be so remarkably ineffective, or why such an incredibly substantial volume of chemical fertilizer was consistently required to adequately nourish and sustain the crops. What was happening? Well, the soils are becoming completely saturated with nitrates. They're also excessively saturated with sodium. They're oversaturated and facing a most serious problem, which is that all of this is leaching into the aquifers. I mean, the major problem that we are facing is that the soil is a problem because the farmer is creating living and productive zones. But we are carrying that contamination into the water. And that water contamination, there isn't today still sufficient technology to eliminate the toxins that are generated. No matter how much purification, no matter how much filtering, there is no technological system today that can be economically afforded to degrade all those toxins that we are integrating into the aquifers. Who drinks from the aquifers? Our plants again, our animals, and us. So what happens? We actually conducted a really, really interesting study, where we have observed that quite significantly in those specific locations where there was a very high level of agronomic production, coupled with an excessive use of conventional chemical fertilization methods, the incidence of dialysis among individuals who suffer from kidney disease is in fact directly proportional to the application of these chemical fertilizers.
Oh, wow.
In other words, where there's a lot of agriculture, dialysis rates increase. So what's happening? In Europe, governments, much like what occurred with tobacco, everything is based on taxes. Everything is funded by taxes, but governments closely monitor how much we spend on treating people. What are we producing in terms of agriculture? So there's already a very strict European legislation in place where they are making exclusions, preventing agricultural production in certain areas. And we are tasked with the eternal wonderful project of saying, gentlemen, think and try to fix it. So 17 years ago, we began to analyze with very little knowledge. That is, we didn't get contaminated by agronomy so as not to be contaminated by what was being done up to that point. So we were quite cautious in conducting analysis with teams of people from industrial engineers, from all sorts of backgrounds, a whole process of experts who had nothing to do with agriculture, so they wouldn't be biased by what they had learned. I mean, we wanted to use their expertise, but without them being influenced in that design, right? So what did we observe? Well, we observed that evidently there are no good fertilizers nor any bad ones. There are elements that are more effective or less effective. And what does it depend on? Well, it doesn't depend on the fertilizer, it depends on other things. It depends on variables. Your humidity level, soil characteristics, and temperature. So, well, a specific fertilizer that works well here today might be completely ineffective in the adjacent state. Does its effectiveness depend solely on the fertilizer itself? No, it truly depends on all the environmental variables. Yes, it does. So maintenant, we started our project on how to reduce that volume of variables. That is, if I have a fertilizer, it should have the same efficacy regardless of its characteristics. And the fundamental ones are those of the soil, but in the end, the fertilizers, yes, we're talking about the soil. For the most part, we add them to the soil, right? So, clearly, any fertilizer whose molecular structure and its dissolution depend entirely on the soil's characteristics, well, gosh, you pretty much have to light a candle to the nearest saint and say, please, God, help me.
let it rain exactly when I need it to rain, and so on. So we then began to thoroughly analyze what that entire process entailed, and that's precisely where our innovative technology originates, you see. We saw that the primary problem that existed was a physical problem. That is, when you add a molecule of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, macros, the molecular size is very large, and the space it needs to dissolve and enter the plant's interior is very small. We're talking about the entry point into plants, which has a specific name. They are called plasmodesmata, which are the elements both foliar and radicular. They serve as the channels through which cells interconnect for the transmission of both water and the minerals dissolved in that water. And it has a size, and that size is 100 nanometers. So it's a physical tube, exactly 100 nanometers. Any molecule that happens to be larger than those 100 nanometers cannot enter. It possesses a physical barrier. So it's not, then what happens? For this molecule that I add to the soil to be absorbed, it depends on several factors. First, that we have a soil structure with very potent microorganisms, so they possess the ability to fractionate these molecules, and that the soil's characteristics allow for a breakdown through cationic exchange in the soil, thus fractionating that molecule. What happens then? The fragmentation rate of these molecules is extremely low. We have calculated this, and for a solid fertilizer, it never ever goes beyond 7%. Of everything that I apply, never in any possible way is there the physical capacity for more than 7% to be bioassimilated by the plant. Okay, but then what happens with the remaining 93%? And that's precisely where we encounter the problem. Wow. Well, so we then began to fractionate these molecules. We say, we're going to break these molecules apart. We're going to create molecular structures that are smaller, so they have a range of less than 100 nanometers. And with that, we've already achieved our first major technological advance. We now possess the capability to fractionate these molecules and give them a size that ensures they won't encounter a physical barrier. Okay. That we started, we got a team of industrial engineers. We managed to fractionate these molecules with pressure systems through enzymatic hydrolysis. Well, it's very complex because each element has a different fractionation process, right? But anyway, we achieved this fractionation. So, we decided to go to the field. We are the best in the world. We are truly wonderful. So let's go to the field. And we observed that it was true. We had increased the bioassimilation capacity, but very little. I mean, we managed from 7%, which is conventional, and that's how it is. No, we couldn't exceed 15% bioassimilation. So we said, well, what's happening? Evidently, these molecular elements are elements possessing electrical charges, and these electrical charges are dependent on the soil structure, which either retains them or takes hold of them, and they lack the ability to mobilize because the soil itself retains them. So clearly, I don't just have one physical barrier, I actually have two. One, I depend on the soil structure, the electrical and chemical conditions of the soil, and I also depend on the size of the molecule. So obviously, we said, okay, let's figure out how on earth we can make sure that this structure doesn't trap my molecule, meaning it doesn't hold on to my molecule, which is what usually happens. They tell me, no, it's that the calcium, it doesn't bioassimilate. First, it's a structural issue with the soil. I mean, it's not an illusion, it's not magic. 17 years ago, we went to the University of Valencia, where we developed the first phases of gluconase. In fact, we patented them there. So we already had the technological capacity to chelate, to create elements, to add organic elements to a molecule, to give it more mobility, more speed. So, we achieved something very important, which was to this structure we had fractionated. We managed to add to it, by synthesizing that molecule in the laboratory, an organic element for what today are called chelated products, right?
There are so many on the market with conventional molecules. I mean,
considering all the issues that they face. We observed, and it was actually quite significant, that the bioassimilation process at that moment had increased up to 40-45%. Quite a lot.
But we started to think again, well, if we already possess a molecular structure, if we have good velocity, what is happening so that it doesn't have a higher percentage of bioassimilation, which is exactly what we were looking for. So, well, we started to analyze and we found ourselves again dependent on the soil structure. So what was happening? That this element synthesized at a level, at a laboratory level, depending on the specific type of soil that we had, it would fracture very, very rapidly. I mean, it would break down for us extremely quickly, and we were right back to square one. That is, we were putting ourselves back to 2-0. I mean, wow. We've achieved a technological breakthrough, and there's a lot of mountains, there's a lot of everything moving on. Well, there we have, yes, of course. I mean, we have different territories with different soils, alkaline temperatures, acidic temperatures. So our molecules were getting broken down. So of course, actually, today, all of this is already available on the market from other companies, meaning elements that are structurally much smaller. There are some, but very few. There are chelated elements. Many companies offer chelated elements, but the significant technological advancement that we introduce as a major innovation is that we have successfully managed to synthesize covalent bonds between the structural element, the element of agronomic interest, such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and the carrier or transport element, that is to say, the organic element.
So we managed to create a bond that would make that particular molecule unbreakable. It cannot be broken, it cannot be fractured into smaller pieces. Wow, it absolutely cannot be fractured in any way whatsoever.
So while we started working for each, evidently, a covalent bond isn't similar for every molecule. Each molecule you have to design its own and so on. So this is an unbreakable bond, which means if I have an acidic soil, it simply won't break. If I have a basic soil, it still won't break. If I mix it with anything else, it just won't break. What I mean is my molecule is completely stable in any state with pH levels practically 0 and with pH levels practically 14. The molecule is completely stable.
So we said, okay, let's head out to the field.
This is absolutely wonderful. We've reached the field and absorption levels are well over 95%. Wow, wow.
Wonderful. Okay, let's take a look at the metabolization process for these molecules. 0, they were metabolized to 0. I mean, not 1, no, absolutely 0. Why is that?
Because they are unbreakable. Wow, we were like, holy cow, let's go.
They did it. They achieved it. Yes, no, they're yes, but it doesn't nourish the plant.
Why? Because the molecule doesn't break inside the plant. It is so strong. So my molecule lives inside the plant, and the molecule doesn't break.
So it's another problem. Another problem. That took years and years of investigation. Wow, every single one, years of research, huh? Wow. So of course we then said, well, how on earth do we indicate it to them?
What I mean is we can send a signal to a molecule telling it that it can now break apart while it's still located inside the plant, and that's what we achieved. And this is the great technological contribution we are making now for agriculture worldwide, right? I tell you, this technology, I believe, in a few years will be implemented worldwide because it's the great solution to agriculture's problems. We have it in our hands technologically. Then since we are missionaries in a desert, well, it's complicated. But anyway, that's another thing. Because the big multinational corporations are the ones that dominate the markets, yes. And they're not very interested in us coming to offer big solutions because that, of course, that affects the accounts, the accounting books, the accounting books, that's for sure.
But hey, since we are romantics and we come from the world of science, it's all the same to us. Yes, we keep on fighting. And with our guitars, we'll be singing. We've no problem.
So what did we do then? Well, what we observed was we had already noticed back when we were developing the gluconate compounds that depending on the organic element that we were incorporating, synthesizing into our molecule, that particular element, once it was introduced into the plant's interior, the plant would automatically generate an inductive rejection response by formulating, that is, and creating elements that counteracted this organic element. The same thing happens when a pathogen enters, when an insect attacks, or when we have a bacterium, or when we have any element that attacks a plant.
When any element attacks a plant, the plant naturally it generates an inductive response, mainly in the form of phytoalexins.
It creates that line. It creates, in its defense, is to produce phytoalexins. Okay? Okay. So what happens? We think, wow, I mean, we already have a chemical signal. I mean, we have the ability, depending on the organic element I'm introducing, that is, the plant responds to me with a chemical signal.
That is my switch.
Okay, so I'm going to be using that particular switch as a signal for the fractionation of my molecule. So that covalent bond is formed with a constant stability. What activates that constant stability? When I have a chemical signal produced by the plant itself, produced by a phytoalexin. So from that moment, that phytoalexin, which is immediately inside the plant, as soon as it's affected, it's immediate. That practically takes minutes. Minutes, the plant is already generating phytoalexins. Wow, what happens? We take advantage of that signal, our covalent bond detects that chemical signal and then begins a countdown. So that covalent bond begins to break down within a period of 24 to 48 hours, which is the time frame that we calculate and estimate starting from the moment I apply, either directly to the soil or through foliar application. My specific technology, my fertilizer product, it has already been fully distributed three-dimensionally throughout the entire plant structure. That is the time. So at that very moment, that element fractionates, the element of agronomic interest gets metabolized, and the organic element also gets metabolized as an organic element. And the plant then begins to produce, well, all of its elements, proteins, amino acids. That is, it begins to nourish itself and to operate. What happens? Of course, with this technology, we are achieving a bioassimilation of over 95% of what we are applying, and we are metabolizing 100% of that 95%. What does this mean translated into plain English? It means, let's translate it into plain English. This means that I possess the technological capability to provide the exact same levels of nutrient metabolization within a plant, effectively reducing the overall volumes by as much as 90%. This neither in... Wow. And with a significant advantage that my plant, which adopts my technology, does not expend energy in the process of metabolization, or very little energy, and in the process of absorption and mobilization, so all that energy it uses for its development. So we are bringing this all around the world. We are already present in many places. In South America, we are in many different locations. And in Europe, of course, in the United States, we have been here for 2 years. I mean, we are quite recent here in the United States. Well, actually, now, later I'll tell you how we're positioned and what is it that we are achieving. We managed to logistically reduce volumes. Our offer technology has a small handicap or a minor problem, which is that we don't really care about the grounds. We can cultivate a plant without soil. Wow. We nourish the plant, and the plant will 100% assimilate and metabolize everything that we are providing it. Therefore, for me, the soil is just an element to hold the plant in place. What happens then? My technology doesn't nourish the soil. It's not designed to nourish the soil.
Only kills.
It's all about the plant. No? So if you're looking to use a technology that's meant to nourish the soil, you simply cannot use my technology. Understood? I mean, my primary focus is solely on nourishing the plant itself. What kind of soil it has, that truly doesn't matter to me. Does it even have soil? It makes no difference. Is it hydroponics? It makes no difference. I mean, if it's cocoa fiber, it makes no difference. I mean...
So isn't this basically a fertilizer that's sprayed or drenched during application?
Or you can put it in via drip irrigation. For us, the ideal is that you have drip irrigation systems, or you can apply it foliarly through the hydroponic system, through the sprinklers, however you please. I mean, no, it's really no problem at all.
And it works the same for vegetable plants, fruit plants.
Let's see, we really think that...
And the plants that are flowering.
You have to consider that all plants, just like human beings, maintain their own nutritional balances.
What we've done, and this falls within what we've designed independent molecules. That is, we have a nitrogen molecule, a phosphorus molecule, a potassium molecule as independent elements, which is something very different from what exists in the market, where if you want to add potassium, you have to buy potassium nitrate. Well, you want calcium, and you have to buy calcium nitrate. No, but if I want calcium, I don't want nitrogen. Oh, well, you go and buy yourself some nitrogen.
Oh, this is pure.
No, what we're talking about here are pure stabilized molecules. This means that you can then place it on your mixing table, and then for every single phenological stage, for each individual plant, you can utilize as a skilled technician precisely what that plant truly needs at that very specific moment. Meaning, with an efficacy over 95%, what happens?
Well, yes, we've been observing for many years now that the continuous use of our technology is substantially improving the soil. Why? Because it makes the soils regenerate.
Why is that? Because you're not extracting any nutrients from the soil, nor are you putting any salts back into the soil. So that biota, I mean to
It's
say,
less
no,
chemicals going into the
absolutely
ground.
zero.
Absolutely
I mean,
zero.
zero chemicals go into the soil. Now, I mean, 100% of what you apply, the plant takes it in. It's meant for you to feed the plant.
You can apply it to the soil, no, or foliar, it's not an issue. The plant will absorb it exactly the same. So that's adapting to the grower's application system. We already defined the doses per system. Say, I have 500-gallon tanks. No, I have systems. We really designed it for highly technical systems. I mean, for advanced technology, because we believe it's the most efficient, what it ultimately needs to be. That is to give the plant the water it needs. I mean, forgive me, we've been here in Homestead since August, in the Homestead area, reviewing the crops. We really like outreach, but we also really like to learn. So we like to see what problems exist and what's happening in each place, and then see how we can help. I mean,
And what have you learned here?
Well, I've learned a lot of things. The truth is a lot of things, not many good ones.
forgive me.
No, it's perfectly fine. Speak to me. Speak to me with clarity.
Look, the main problem that I've observed since coming here in August, we visited how many times? 5 or 6 times, always with the intention of going to the fields to examine different crop types, to understand the crop issues, to analyze the characteristics of the problems that exist, and to see how we can truly help. I believe the biggest problem you have in Homestead, not obviously those of you who grow ornamental plants because you use pots, is the soil. I mean, you have a soil problem. Well, look, the issue is that in many areas there's no organic matter left, and I don't think you're balancing your irrigation properly. You don't know how to water, forgive me.
In what sense do you mean it?
In areas where you have a lot of drainage, you do extremely long watering, and it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, in fact, these days we're going to see growers of guava. That is to say, they are watering them with sprinklers. I mean, but man, don't you see the level of fungus you're causing by watering with sprinklers on a tree that's not going to move from that spot? I mean, for you to water a plant in a pot with a sprinkler, well, it's got its quirks. It could be better, but it's got its quirks. Because the level of fungi and the money you must be spending on fungicides, I don't even want to know. I mean, I don't even want to ask. I was thinking, oh my goodness, the fortune you must be spending on fungicides because you're not doing it right.
But what surprises me the most, and I have to tell you, I don't know if they'll,
No, Daddy, let go.
I don't know if they'll kick me out of the country or something. I mean, it's just
let go.
no, it's just that this is the regulation of the US. Is they or what's it called? USDA.
No, it's just that this is the way they tell us we have to do it. So seriously, someone should really teach them. I mean, honestly, tell me for real. I mean, what exactly are you telling me? I mean, I'm like, but come on, just listen. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. I go to see a crop and I see it's full of fungi, and you're watering it every single day in the aerial phase. I mean, but what is going through your heads? I mean, do you like buying fungicides? I mean, you have some kind of policy that.
That's completely normal right here. This is quite normal. That means you pour a lot of water and you add the fungicide. It's perfectly normal.
But pour the water where it's meant to be absorbed, because if you pour it on the plant, on the leaves, that's just, of course, you've got Disney World, the fungi's very own Disney World. Yeah, you're practically building a theme park for fungi every single day. I mean, honestly, I just can't comprehend it. Botrytis, anthracnose, I mean, everything.
What other problems here?
What I'm seeing is that there's a very limited amount of technical training among producers. I mean, it's quite surprising to me. It's quite surprising, and I never like to speak badly about the market, about.
No, but it's not wrong. It's the truth.
I mean, look, I'm being sincere. I mean, I'm here to help. I mean, my whole intention is to come here and help. And in fact, with all the people that we are working with, which is already quite a lot of people, we are coming with the intention of making things better. I mean, if I cannot improve, I don't want to go inside anywhere. Why? Because we believe you have something fantastic, which is you have water, you have an amazing climate.
we would practically give our right arm for what you have. So we've learned with almost no resources to develop incredibly powerful agriculture, and you have all the resources and you just don't know how to use them.
So that's the kind of thing that really rubs us the wrong way. It really rubs me the wrong way.
I mean, guys, if I had this water, oh my goodness, I'd do wonders with it. Because excessive water use isn't good. I mean, it's a concept that you have to understand. Each plant has its own method, no? The amount of water it needs when it needs its nutritional balance. And that I haven't seen.
A lot of professionalism in that, the transfer of information to the producers. And I think it's due to, and I truly believe, and it's something else I've seen, the aggressiveness you have here in sales. I mean, you're very aggressive,
So it really surprises me when you go there. Just recently, we were with a colleague who came from the competition, and he said, no, look, the leaves are yellow, this and that, it needs iron, no? Oh, but does it really need iron? Why is it lacking iron? I mean, do you have some kind of stratospheric sensor in your eye that tells you it's low on iron? Or how exactly does this work? I mean, I can tell you the apparent symptoms a plant might have, but it's crucial to do a proper analysis. So take a sample, go to the university, and tell me exactly what nutritional levels this plant has, because usually the symptoms are very similar for many different elements. So why would you just spend money? Oh, iron. Oh, no? And tomorrow you'll add iron. No, but the iron won't actually help you if it's really lacking manganese. Why are you adding iron to it? I mean, in a sense, it's like, never mind, just add iron. Yeah, but that can unbalance the plant and make it less productive. What are you doing? I mean, you're using resources in a way that's not properly managed. Excuse me.
No, it's perfectly fine. We should have had Pedro here. Listen, I really love it. I love that you're opening this whole can of worms. Imagine, this would be a whole other podcast where we could talk about all the problems we have here. You're not familiar with it. Oh, no. Look, I truly don't believe, you don't believe the USDA possesses what they truly need to be able to perform the analyses in the manner you're describing to everyone out here. There are far too many nurseries. Alas, if you take something, it takes a week, 2 weeks, and we don't have that kind of time. By then, the plant is already, it's much worse, and then it has another problem. So there's no real support from the scientists we have here, and that's a serious problem we're facing as well. The USDA, but also the UF, is called SHREC, okay? It's from the University of Florida. They have a station here, but they're missing many things. They lack funding. They lack, the scientists there are in a situation where they have nothing to be able to work and flow. So the way that you are speaking is a professional and correct way to run a business and to manage the growing of the plants, but I don't believe that we have the proper structure to be able to withstand the demand if everyone were to come there to get get laboratory tests for the specific problem that they have.
No, that's not it. It's a matter of organizing and managing. You don't need you probably don't need to do that, for example, in one area. It's very important to make a good start and set up to have a very good database. That is the symptoms. Someone who is very analytical, because our company in Europe, and we're hoping to establish it as a United States, it's quite complex because over there we work incredibly hard, like crazy. What I mean is, for our big clients, the ones we work with, we are the ones who monitor their crops.
It is you who are the doctors. It is you who are the growers.
But we monitor the cultivation. I mean, we have a dedicated technical team that periodically monitors the fields and takes samples regularly. In our own laboratories, we conduct all the necessary analysis and then provide the appropriate technical solution.
They are a growing company over there, basically.
Yeah, that's
You
pretty
offer
much
that service.
we in Europe, in the United States, we're actively managing it.
We created the company called the Nursery Growers. The idea was to have a doctor available because a doctor here costs a lot of money annually, and many nurseries are quite small. they're really just small operations and they don't have that money to pay for a doctor?
Well, you see, we don't charge for the service itself there. No,
They don't charge?
If they work with our technology, we, in the value of our technology, that service is already incorporated. So what happens with us? We don't fail. But we don't fail because we are very intelligent. We have the molecular elements to bring a crop forward.
That's like Harold's. If Harold supplies you their product, they're going to come out and make sure that their product is working.
They do. So the big companies that are around here, they do provide those services for you. But it's different. It's not like
free.
that. And no, it might be. It is free. It is free. They help you in the sense that they take the paperwork to the USDA, you understand? Or if they have a doctor, it's in another place, another state. That takes time and is different. It's not the same company directly above you. You have to keep talking to your sales rep, and your sales rep then connects with another.
That's the
You
really
send people
important
up there
point,
to
of
be-
course.
That's different. If you just imagine, you have so many advantages. If you were to if you can gain traction here in the United States, well, let's go. If you allow us, if they gain enough traction, you could really have something. Especially here, you're in Miami-Dade County. This is the largest county in the United States for tropical plants. Just imagine, it would be absolutely amazing here.
We're already doing that because I'll tell you a bit about our company in the United States. Our company in the United States, we have an important partner with whom we partner or associate in the United States, which is Microbiotech and AgroBio USA.
I mean, they are our partners in the Tecnafert project.
Yeah.
Okay, so we, this company, AgroBio USA,
And this is millions and millions of dollars, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we have a partnership with Microbiotech, or rather, Microbiotech operates a facility. I believe it might be the most significant one in the entire United States, with the highest quality, I'd say, because we are very closely involved with it for the production of microorganisms.
Yep.
So we are already in the phase of how to restructure the soils by putting the necessary elements back into the soil. Okay. So they handle that part, which is breaking down the soil, where we don't get involved because our technology isn't suited for that. And we partnered precisely for this to be able to close the loop, right? In other words, we have a way to restructure the soil with one company, and with them, we're collaborating on new developments. So this company already has a system, software installed, where we constantly analyze. Through this system, which we do at the plant level, they do it at the soil level, they already have the sample collection system installed. The soil samples are taken, post they are analyzed, post we look at the levels of microorganisms, post both good and bad, post the nutritional levels, post, and then a corrective solution is provided. This is already implemented in the United States. Through our partner, AgroBio USA. And what we want I believe in the not too distant future, is to implement this system, which is a very technical system. Why? Because I'm not going to recommend anything that the report doesn't state. I mean, I don't want our people who work with us to go around offering just anything, which is what's happening today, right? Even these companies that provide the service, they prioritize sales over solutions. We prioritize solutions over sales because we are romantics. We want more production. We want the producer to earn more money because he's my future client. He's my livelihood, and I want my livelihood to grow, no? Because if he grows, I will grow with him.
of course.
It's the correct way to do it.
Growth means spending the least amount possible to do things in the best way possible and achieving the highest possible output at the lowest possible cost. For that, you need to be extremely efficient. In other words, it's all about technology and efficiency. That is the future of agriculture.
You heard that. Yes, the future. But here in this industry, in Miami specifically, it's difficult to teach new tricks to old dogs. I mean, teaching you, an old dog new tricks. Here, you tell them, no, that's not iron, you're magnesium deficient. But I've done it this way for so many years, and the plants turn out fine. That's a lot of problems.
All right, my apologies. Hey, just listen. If that man is an idiot, then so be it.
Buddy, you'll find a lot of that here. No, but that's just how it is. Many people just copy what their neighbor does. Yeah, exactly. Okay, they want to grow a Pucala tree net. The neighbor does it beautifully. They go over there, maybe they buy 20 plants and they look at the soil that was used and they try to figure out how he did it.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Instead of asking a professional
It is
like
true what he
yourself,
says.
they look at, many people view doctors as being too expensive. They're afraid. You're going to tell them to make a product they've never made before. They have, let's say, $500,000, all their money tied up in 5 acres of crops, 4 acres of crops, and now you tell them, go ahead and try this in a your own. And now they're like, hold on, but I've never done this. It could damage the plant. It could get ruined. Many people are walking around scared. You understand? But what you're doing today, I love, because we're talking, and this is what we need to talk.
No, look, it's important. I understand. The thing is, I'll explain it to you. It's for us in Europe, it's very similar. What's happening? It's true that there's a generational change. I mean, a generational change is coming, and in fact, that generational change is dangerous because new generations usually want to just throw agriculture to the wind.
That's the really big problem.
We are seeing this
I
situation
mean,
unfold here. Many people are
that's the
choosing to
really
close their
big
businesses
problem.
instead
No,
of
that's
passing
the
them on
really
to their
big
children.
problem. Why? Because the new generations, they just don't want to. Why?
Because it is true that they have also seen, it is true that their parents, well, 1 year has gone very well for them and another year has gone very badly. But today we have technology. 70 years ago we didn't, but today we have technology. Today we have the technology of an iPhone. I mean, just a little while ago I was talking to my wife in Spain.
You can't just operate a business in that manner.
No, but listen to me. I mean, all those farmers who refuse to change, they all carry one. I mean, and to this they say, okay, yes, well, for their life and their business is their problem, but we have to, it's an educational process. I mean, I believe it's a process of training, of education. It's very important, especially for the new generations. But we must start from the university. I mean, the big problem is that we have the same issue in Europe. I mean, at the university, we still teach the old school way of how things are produced. No, gentlemen, no, because today we have technology. Today we have AI. I mean, we are installing in Europe the first monitored crop system, that is to say, where AI is telling us what to, when I have to water, how I have to water with my technology. Why? Because I have such precision that I can correct a problem in a plant within hours.
Wow.
I don't apply a fertilizer and then see the results within a month. Well, obviously, I can put a drip on the plant and solve its problem in 72 hours.
I mean, it won't happen in a single month. What I mean is,
Wow.
but that's due to the technological foundation we're working with.
And is that with a plant, or is it, with
No kill.
I mean, are we talking about growing it directly in the soil or in a container?
If I've explained the technology to you before. We don't care. I mean, we don't care. The ground for us.
And that technology for what? So it can arrive here?
We're working on it. I mean, we are working. We haven't been here for long. In the United
2
States,
years
we've been here for 2 years. In this part of Florida, and actually we have our plant in Sorrento, which we've set up in the state of Florida. But anyway, we're going to keep on working. And
The other thing is that many people stick with one salesperson. This is my friend. I'm loyal to him. That same salesperson has been selling the exact same things for 40 years. So there are many products, many new things that if the company that salesperson works for doesn't introduce them to him, okay, he's not going to go out and look for them. He's not going to offer what you are doing.
False.
I mean, you could have amazing technology that would help his client, reach the sky, the clouds, but he won't even look that way. He won't even talk to you because he has to sell these people's products, and that nursery will die with that salesman.
Absolutely, that's correct. I mean, honestly, we're seeing this happen in many places. It's true that for me, fertilizer companies aren't sellers, they're just dispatchers. I mean, selling is one thing. You have to look at the characteristics. For me, a salesperson is someone who knows what they're selling and that it will perform its function or task, that what they sell will deliver that result or functionality. If all you do is just dispatch products, because there's already a multinational that has that is putting its brand out there, regardless of whether it's good or bad. They know what they're doing isn't good, but they don't care.
Yes, he's saying that people are basically like a salesperson today is a dispatcher, because you call and you say, hey, I need a pallet of once a me. I'm in need of a pallet, one that's for 9 months. Okay, perfect. They don't ask you where you're going to put it or why you
would that
actually
be the
need
case?
it. Let me go
Right.
there. Let me help you. There's none of that anymore. So it's true. It's basically this true.
Well, it's like a. But so this love of yours for this, where did it come from?
Well, the truth is that the satisfaction of the farmer, we look, just recently we were in Sicily. We are in many places, you know. So there was an area of thousands of hectares producing grapes, table grapes, the best grapes in the world. They had gone 15 years without being able to produce the best grape in the world. Why? We go back to basics, the collapsed soils, excessive use of fertilizers. Our time arrives, and for that, Pedro is the one responsible there in my colleague who's here. He's the one in charge of the area. And the satisfaction after 2 years that they've completely transformed working with our technology, which is a risk. I don't tell everyone, son, don't do that, son, because I'm giving you a Ferrari, and first you have to learn how to drive it. This has happened to me several times. Yeah, sell me product. I'm not selling you a product, dear. I mean, that's happened to us many times, right? Sell me your product? No, I'm not selling you my product. I'm here to educate you. And when you understand how to operate with my product, I'll then open the door for you to be able to use it. I mean, I'm not going to sell you my product. I mean, but then what exactly are you doing here?
I'm here to educate you. I've come to educate you and improve your cultivation. Do you want to or do you not? Want to stay the same? Stay that way. I have no problem with it.
So you changed it all there.
No, swear there. This year, these last 2 years, they have achieved the greatest production they have ever seen in their lives of Italy's finest grape after we have spent 2 full years working on the renovation and improvement of that specific cultivation. And that, I mean, that satisfaction when a producer presents you with a goal and you manage to resolve it in a very technical way and put money in their pocket, that joy, that truly fulfills us. I mean, it fulfills us.
Wow, now you see grapes are absolutely everywhere.
And it fills us.
In
It
every
fills us.
single house when they're eating them, just everywhere you look.
Right, so what happened? A farmer who perhaps produced 2 tons per
Because of the tree.
per hectare, for example, is now producing 20 tons there per hectare, but of a very high quality product.
You have seen the problem that we are facing here in Florida. We are the state of citrus, the state of oranges,
I know.
and what is happening here.
It makes me feel so sorry.
I think it's going to be eliminated, that the market will collapse. The trees don't last. I think if I remember correctly, though, they don't last even 3 years. They have to throw them out and plant a new one.
Well, but that particular problem.
But
yes,
do you
I
even know
it.
about
It's
the problem
called
that we have
greening,
here?
and I'm very
Right,
familiar
greening,
with
right?
it.
Okay.
And just like it happened to
And
me,
do you
I
have a
believe I
solution
might
for
have a
this specific
solution for
problem?
that.
Guys, listen. If you have a connection with Mr. Ron DeSantis, no, for real. Nosotros creamos oportunidades. Okay, yo creo mucho en eso. Mr. Ron, listen to what this gentleman is talking about. He knows how to fix the citrus problem.
He could figure it out.
He could figure it out how to take care of the citrus problem in the state of Florida. I see this as a big opportunity for whoever sits in any of these chairs, that we can give this guy a shot. I would let him go and work his magic. ¿Tú le cobrarías al Estado de la Florida a los dueños de las empresas tu tiempo para ir a educarlo? He'll do this for free. All
To
right, guys?
educate you.
To educate you guys, and then he'll let you know.
Que me den algo de zumo.
See, something, obviously, but the idea is to get somebody in, that there's someone that can tackle the situation, because all I see on the news and social media with anything that has to do with citrus is that Florida's dying off and there's not going to be citrus. So we got to continue to do what Florida is great at, and one of the things that we're great at and we produce for the world is citrus. So, man, everything happens for me. I have goosebumps just thinking about that.
Oh my goodness, I mean it. You are such a truly wonderful and kind-hearted
Thank you.
person, man.
No, for real, man. No, listen, guys. Listen. This is a guy that travels the world. He's passionate about taking care of what no one really cares about at the end of the day, which is science of plants. It's something that it's a dying breed. I see a lot of the scientists that I get to talk with and sit on with, I sit on these boards, I shake a lot of hands. They don't have the credit that they're supposed to. They don't get the credit they're supposed to. They are doctors. They've studied real hard to do this. They don't get paid what they're supposed to get paid. And I see this as issues because how do you promise a dream and a future to scientists that are studying horticulture and agriculture in these big colleges with debts that they're going to be able to get a position somewhere that can actually bring money
And
to
also
the table?
a future for your kids.
A future for the kids, our sustainability, food. You think about
Yeah,
all this
all
going
of
green.
it, yeah.
You think about all this stuff, and it's like, man, I would love to be a part of something that can, change that radically for them to put them on a pedestal. Like where, and I'm gonna just say this, like UF and places like that, Trek. Why are we allowing our future of scientists in the hands of colleges or different government organizations that do not take it as serious as we do, right? So I've even talked to people about, man, imagine we got millionaires together, billionaires, that they need to do something with their money, and we set up shop somewhere down here in the motherland of Miami-Dade County, and we have the best scientists like him from all over the world. We give them opportunity to shine, to do something amazing for the industry, not just for horticulture, which is what we represent, but agriculture as well, and change and fix all the issues that we have. This guy's global. I believe that God brought him here for a big, big purpose, a big, big reason today. And I'm excited to have him on here. I know it's a Spanish podcast, and we're going to chop it up. We're going to do whatever we got to do so you guys that only speak English can listen to it. But what he said today is super powerful, very knowledgeable, fixing the issues from the root of the problem. And
changing the way you think.
Yeah, yeah, everything. Very, very, very good.
The good thing too.
The good thing too, what's good for, like I mentioned about the dog.
But right now we are seeing a lot of young people coming in, taking over the family business from their parents until, many of them, or perhaps starting completely fresh from scratch. Yes, because there's definitely money to be made in this industry, and but also they are much more open to change than their parents, but they still have their parents right there. But hey, old man, don't use that because I never used that. It is also about still changing the mindset of the parents, but the children are much more accepting of all of the changes. Yeah.
Yes, it's true. Ultimately, the thing is that agriculture is a good that besides being a huge business all over the world, but it's it's the most essential thing we have. So now we analyzed that evidently by 2050 we will already be a population in the world of 10 billion people. So we have to produce. What we cannot allow is for agriculture to be lost. What do?
Well, they are trying to replace real meat with artificial meat and artificial vegetables.
Well, whoever invented that, they really should study where we came from. Because if we were truly carnivores, well, I just don't know. I don't know. We would need to have a double stomach to be able to perform double fermentation of the grass that we're going to eat. They want to treat us like deer, right? Well, no, we're not deer. We're carnivores. With all due respect to those people who, and that brings us back to the same point. We treat our plants the same way we treat ourselves. We need to maintain a balanced diet, which means we need to eat frequently. Well, then, why do we give a plant food that lasts for 6 months? I just put fertilizer in there for 6 months. So what does that even mean? What knowledge or what specific information do you have about how that plant is actually being fed? Because you're not balancing it out.
Yes, you tell them, no, I fertilize it, it's fine.
All right. And let God just do whatever he wants with the rest. This is actually detrimental to production. And our objective is for more to be produced. Truly, on a philosophical level, we want more to be produced because it's necessary to produce more. Because we are more people. We must produce more food, and the areas where it can be produced are very restricted, very limited, and we are destroying them. So we have a problem, as you all said here. Houston, we have a problem.
Houston, we have a problem.
Well, why? Because if the very areas that we have specifically designated, we are destroying them, where are we going to produce?
And in just a few years, they want to practically wipe it out from here. Yeah, they already want to establish the agricultural sector here so that.
But, well, in the end, we always come back to the same thing. That is, the food needed here will come from elsewhere. And that place is degraded, and we move on to another. So, in the end, where do we get it from?
But what place could be more tropical than Miami, Florida? That's what he's saying. He's saying that we have the best elements,
I know,
the best water, the best everything here, and we don't use it
I know,
to our
I
fullest
know.
potential.
We in Europe, we would gladly cut off our arms and legs just to have what you have, honestly.
We don't see it. It goes back to you don't know what you don't have until you lose it. And the government doesn't see it either, bro. I mean, it just goes back to that. They're trying to cut away what we have here and what are we going to have. So, well, we're going to put all his information in the description below. Do you have anything else? Do you want to say anything to the people?
No, no, for the people, for all the people, I'm truly delighted to be here, to be able to help them. Well, regarding the industry, I'd have so much to say because.
Well, if you want to say something,
Yes,
you
no,
have 5 minutes.
no,
right?
let's
no,
take
no,
throws
we're
off.
not backing out.
Balcony, no, of course, with the industry, no, with the industry, no.
By the time this comes out, you'll already be in another country. You don't always get introduced down here.
No. The thing is, well, I truly believe that we must be aware, we must educate. I believe that the mission is education itself. I believe that in this world there is enough technology for things to go much better. If it's not implemented, it's because there are interests against it or because people aren't motivated to learn. But I believe that companies like ours, we are small to medium, small companies. The big players put every barrier in our way because we're very annoying. I mean, our message is very bothersome. I mean, people are now saying, why was I doing this for 20 years? Because now with you all, things are going so much better for me. So those who were selling to me for 20 years, why haven't they helped me to solve my problems? Well, there must have been some interest involved, right? I mean, not really. I mean, that is... And it is true that I would tell the industry that evidently they have everything very well organized. The big industry has it all very well set up. But I truly believe they have to change. I believe they have to change, and a significant change is absolutely necessary. You simply cannot sell millions and millions and millions of tons of urea. I mean, when we actually have to transport it, from places like China or like Ukraine or Russia, that to move vessels weighing 60,000, 80,000 tons, to move 30,000 vehicles, and the trucks required to mobilize them, when all of that can be handled through more advanced technology with significantly fewer complications. And what's more, that will leave us with a problem in the soil and water. So what happens is that since the degradation is proportional, the effectiveness of that element, which the people accustomed to using it know, the multinational companies are well aware of, is directly tied to their annual growth. Why? Because it's directly proportional to the residue and the problem they're leaving in the soil. So they got the good system, because this year I know they'll need 20% more fertilizer to get the same as last year. And why? Because the soil is destroyed. Well, I already know that this year I have a 20% reduction target. Our philosophy is quite the opposite. We're going to try to use the absolute minimum amount annually.
I mean, and if we have to skip a year of fertilizing because the soil is rich enough, let's do it. That we are like the anti-system of the big multinational corporations, because no, that just has no future.
Guys, one thing that came to mind while he was telling me that is that these are the type of people that should sit on boards for our industry. These type of guys. Guys that love and care and have solutions and bring solutions. I'm going to just smile at the camera on that one.
Not on any panel at all. You don't feel like you're on any panel at all?
Majority governments are ultimately being driven by the economy. We in Europe, we face that exact problem. I mean, when a company like Bayer in Europe takes a seat in the European government, that is to say, there's nothing more to discuss, no more questions, Your Honor. I mean...
Yes, because you have a lot of understanding on how to solve many things.
No, but because we don't have, our primary objective isn't to sell. Our true objective is to resolve issues, and to resolve them, you absolutely must understand the problem first. I mean, and the problem doesn't stem from thinking about selling initially, but rather from first considering what the actual problem is, so we can effectively resolve it.
Because the greening, we're back to the same thing. Why do you say no? They just have to keep pulling them out. Evidently, that is to say, because the technical work isn't being done correctly. It's a technical work matter, and the technical work isn't being done well. So greening is a problem, much like the one I faced myself in Mexico. I mean, when I first arrived about 8 or 9 years ago in Mexico, there was a huge issue with the avocados, the avocado phytophthora, a truly terrible problem. I mean, people were saying we don't have any formulas for this. And I said, no, I can solve your phytophthora problem and I won't use a single chemical molecule. Nah. We've been at this university for I don't know how many years. Well, kid, just give me the chance to prove it to you. And we solve 90% of the phytophthora problems in avocados without a single chemical molecule. I mean, what I'm saying is why? Because we analyze the problem. Our aim isn't to just sell you a product for you to buy and then not care about the phytophthora. No, I am truly concerned about the phytophthora. So I have to analyze what is the right methodology for action. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like at the end we treat plants exactly like we treat people. I mean, you go to a doctor and the doctor will analyze you. First, he analyzes you because you can just walk past and say, oh, wow, that's really messed up. And this is what's going on. No, I'm sorry. He truly analyzes what's going on.
We're going to draw blood. We're going to draw.
We have to analyze all the parameters at that precise moment in that exact location. Not one that the university conducted 7 years ago. No, that simply won't count. I mean, I have a friend, a good friend, whose MRI from a whole year ago is no longer valid for them. I mean, just imagine that.
But with doctors, it's better. It's all about the money, you know. It's better to help than to fix, you know, to give them what they truly need.
Yes, they have the thing is that's precisely what the sales of fetch is all about.
The case the sales pitch is
Exactly.
as long as
it's
the
not going to
problem
be any help.
persists, I'll keep selling. But that doesn't help. That's a huge mistake because what's happening is it's degrading the agricultural sector and people don't want to farm. And when there's no farming, those gentlemen who are doing this, what will they sell? Who will they sell to? Astronauts?
Yes.
I mean, you absolutely must take care of, right? That is, you have to look after that farmer who is your client. And you need to make sure that this man earns a good income because he's the one who will sustain you next year and the year after that and the one after that. And he will provide us with the food we need in the best possible conditions so that we don't get sick.
So, all this trend you've started here about getting into the whole the organic thing, but what's wrong with you all?
I mean, what is this? You're creating agriculture for a select few. Because if you are. But what's going on? So in this world, we have the select people who can eat organic and those who cannot.
And if you knew how organic food is produced,
Make it entirely organic.
You'd eat the conventional.
I mean, I tell you, I know. And that's why they don't want to put me in any forum because I make them look bad. I mean, so, look, it's not logical. We have to do healthy agriculture, 100% healthy. But we have to do agriculture. I mean, what is it? To eat or not to eat?
Well, we need to practice agriculture, and the farmer must be profitable. No, so that we need to find that balance where we can truly certify that agriculture is healthy.
But this trend of putting an organic, a bio, pause, what is that all about? Pause. I mean, what exactly are you trying to tell me? Pause. I mean, I am demonstrating to this gentleman who speaks so much about bio, that bio is when you take a slurry, the urine from a pig farm, pause, and you pour it there as a nutrient for your plants, and pause. That is super bio. Super bio, do you truly understand what you're doing in the water? Super bio. What exactly is it that you're doing? I mean, so who actually put together all these these organic regulations? What do these gentlemen know about what is organic, what is bio, what is residual, what is not residual? I mean, do these guys actually know? Or are they just bureaucrats who have imposed a regulation and you all have to pay for it? We have to create healthy agriculture. We have to create healthy agriculture, 100% healthy. But that's not just a trend of putting a label on it. All soil agriculture should be healthy. I mean, not just a little bit. Or not
Very
just
true.
one specific kind, like B. That is to say, this.
Have you been on other podcasts?
I've installed them and on televisions in many different places. Yes, here we did a podcast showcasing the technology in the United States. Yes, that's right.
And well, here in Mexico, I was interviewed by a television station in the state of Guerrero because they were experiencing a problem with their mangoes. They have a really, really large amount of mango production there.
How do people, how do they contact you? How do they find you?
Well, it was through our importer, the one who handles our technology in Mexico, that they made him an offer. Hey, bring this crazy fellow over here and please just have him come tell us all sorts of interesting things. Then at some point, someone mentioned, no, don't go mentioning any brand names. I said, oh, right, okay, I understand.
Willie, so at the end of the day, they sell a fertilizer at the end of the day?
No, so what they do is they created a product that breaks down the molecules of each and every nutrient that a plant is supposed to absorb, right? In a way that the plant actually absorbs it and the plant doesn't retaliate towards it. Okay? So it basically consumes 95%
So
of
it's like a
that.
primer before you add
No. This is what they sell is the actual nutrient in the raw form. So it's not with anything else mixed. Like today, if you want to buy magnesium, it's not magnesium. It's magnesium with other things labeled as magnesium, but there's a million things in it. They sell you magnesium, but it's magnesium with the molecules that can actually break down that the plant absorbs the magnesium, 95% of the magnesium. And they'll do it based off what your plants need, right? So they don't
So
just
it's not
sell
like a
you.
set bag.
They're not going to sell you whatever you want. They're going to sell you what you need. So they only work with people that they operate basically full circle and manage their inventory. So today, over there, and they come to educate people, to teach people about it. Like what they do is fix massive issues. Like I see him sitting somewhere where he's taking care of educating our county.
So is that like just one product or ustedes venden like multiple different types of products?
Nosotros vendemos, a ver, para gente muy técnica, para técnicos muy
This
profesionales.
is scientists and big nurseries.
Les vendemos moléculas independientes.
So they can sell to like the big fertilizer companies. They can sell directly to them. So they can buy that ingredients and make something with it.
And we, here in the United States, in our portfolio specifically for the United States, we have indeed developed technology packages. That is to say, we have, for example, we've designed, listen, we need a product that bioinduces flowering, for instance, you know? So I need a chem. So it has to be based on our knowledge, our own knowledge. You know, I mean, it's not something that we can tailor it. If a technician says, "Well, look, I need this specific type of balance in a crop. I need this particular level of nitrogen, this level of phosphorus, this level of potassium," we can certainly do that. No, it's not a problem.
We already have portfolio that has been designed by our own technicians. I mean, it's not just a technical response.
They custom make your blend basically to make your
Yes,
plant
that's
flower.
correct. What I mean is, we have actually developed a technological package, which is the product line is called the TerraFluid range from Tecnafert, and we have designed about 5 products. We have one product that we call TerraFluid Start, which is designed to promote strong rooting at the very beginning of crop cultivation, especially for those of you working in ornamental plants who require a very rapid start for the plant to ensure a significant and extensive root development. It's a balanced formulation containing a specific package of amino acids that we have carefully designed and which are exclusively produced by us.
With a very elevated level of our phosphorus molecule and a very minimal amount of nitrogen,
we design a blend of product that is always liquid, because all our product is liquid, so it doesn't have that issue of dilution, because dilution truly is a problem. I mean, if you have a solid product, it needs to be diluted, and the molecule of that particular element is enormous, which is why we synthesize that molecule into a liquid base, you see? So we have the TerraFluid Start, one that is of paramount importance to me, one of the most significant products, which is the flowering, a product specifically designed for the bioinduction of flowering, which in fact yesterday we were observing and testing on the avocados, weren't we?
And flowering isn't just for flowers or for what we call ornamental blooms, but also for plants like fruit trees and vegetable plants, because it's from the flower that the fruit develops. So it's very important that all these plants flower.
And then for the part that is about fruit production, we have the fattening product, which contains all the necessary elements for the fruit to grow in size, meaning it facilitates a bulking process that is different from the conventional one, because conventional bulking involves a lot of water absorption and very little cell generation. So we designed a very specific package to ensure that this cell growth we can achieve a significantly higher cellular density, meaning it will have a much greater density of cells per cubic centimeter, right? So what happens then? What we observe when we work with our technology, for example, when we're working with the fattening process. What this means is that if you take two fruits of the exact same caliber, the fruit that has been treated with our technology will have a weight that is 15 to 20% greater than a normal one. Yes, no, it's non-residual. I mean, I'm really not a fan of organic, you know? I mean, no, I just really like non-residual.
Okay.
I mean,
it leaves no residue at all.
organic is just an invention. I mean, that's an invention that just doesn't fit with me at all. I prefer non-residual. All our technology contains no residual molecules, not a single one. They are all organic and organomineral elements. That is to say, they are synthesized elements. They are synthesized in a laboratory, but the basis of the elements we synthesize are organic or organomineral elements. Well, but we prefer to defend the project that is not residual. What I mean is, it's not organic, no. But it's non-residual because it leaves no residue on the soil, it leaves no residue on the plant, no type of residue remains. Yeah, you can apply our technology, meaning you can do it right now and then harvest just 2 minutes later and you'll be perfectly fine. So you will never, ever have any, because it's non-residual. I mean, the elements that are absorbed at a nutritional level are basic elements for the plant.
I mean, no, there's no molecular, no chemical element. No, we don't like these things.
Why not? So the benefit for nurseries is that, I don't know, I think his time is very valuable, and I don't think it's just for nurseries like that. I feel like you work with really big companies, don't you?
Yes. Well, I can give you some advice for the nursery if you want. If you're interested, I can give you some tips.
Yeah, because what I'm really looking for is more information for the people who can use your product. I have 10
For
minutes.
the nursery?
I have 10 minutes. I really need to go.
Okay. All right, that's perfect. So listen, there are two very important things. The nursery, your actual business is to replicate many plants and to do so very quickly. Therefore, I believe that a truly essential part is to have good root development. Well, I don't know how you all do it, or if you do, I'm not familiar, but at least the people who have worked in plant nurseries have seen the system they're employing, which is that they just grab a small bag of solid material, I don't know, some XXX, I'm not sure what kind, and they just throw it into the small pot so that it can grow. It doesn't make much sense. Why? Well, because we're back to the same point. The most important elements a plant needs when it's born is phosphorus. The phosphorus element that you are applying, the size of that molecule is enormous, which means its capacity to bioassimilate phosphorus, for example, is extremely small. What do you have to do then? You need to introduce a phosphorus that is bioassimilable, so the plant very quickly generates a very powerful and strong root system. And then you have to consider what kind of plant it is, if it's woody, if it's a woody nursery plant, or a small shrub, if it has flowers or if it doesn't. Depending on each one, you adjust the nutritional elements that should be applied week by week. I mean, week by week. And the speed of replication and development, we can reduce it enormously. I mean, tremendously. And another element I would constantly work on is a resistance bioinducer for controlling fungi nutritionally. I mean, for me, that's what I would do. So I would introduce as a nutrient an element that, besides providing nourishment, would produce such a powerful volume of phytolexins that it prevents rust, that it prevents anthracnose, that it prevents alternaria, because I think that's one of the biggest problems here. So what happens? With a nutrient, you see, you accomplish two very important things with the same product. One is to nourish, to feed it with microelements, and so on, and to protect the plant. I can assure you that with this nutrient's specific characteristic, you will reduce the use of fungicides by more than 80%.
Wow. And they're using products from your company.
One of them, yes, only one.
And we'll be able to purchase your product.
Yes, but they buy that from them.
Who is it
from
for?
them?
Exactly. It's specifically for them. Okay,
Fertimax.
I understand. Fertimax.
Okay, so their products, guys, are sold by a company called Fertimax. He gave us two very good ideas there that we're going to implement and start using just to see how it works. We're going to do test batches, what I want to do. Yo quiero usarlo y utilizarlo a ver, compararlo con las otras maneras que lo estamos creciendo. And we'll see what happens, and we'll let you guys know.
I want to talk to you again.
Well, then, when we get back to it.
When are they going to
well,
come
you
back?
know, it's really going to depend. It's going to depend on what we're...
When they get a chance.
Whenever they have time. Estos son conversaciones que tenemos que tener. So, gracias por traerlo. Yo tengo que llamar a, ¿cómo se llama el muchacho? The guy that connected us. Jason. Tengo que llamar a Jason ahora mismo, darle las gracias. We got connected from a guy named Jason, that he does logistics. And he said, bro, I think I got somebody that would like to talk to you guys. And he connected us with Gina. She's a sales rep. And now I know why. Gina told me, hold on, let them speak. Give me a few months, and then I'll come on the podcast because it's a lot to learn. I get you. It's the sales tactics here are completely different. It's more for the love and the passion and looking like 100 years down the road, fixing issues that are 100 years old. It has nothing to do with today's. Yeah, it has nothing to do with today. It has to do with the future.
Wow. Listen, thank you so much. No,
Intense,
this is
huh?
just
Intense.
absolutely wonderful. I really love these conversations. I love it. May God bless you in all that you do.
And to you. And thank you for inviting us and for giving us a voice, too.
Yes, thank you so much. And may God grant you many, many years, okay? Many, many years.
I do too. I'm also asking him. But I don't expect him to pay me any mind.
Okay, oye, que Dios te bendiga.
Señor, un placer.
Thank you. You guys listening, if anything popped into your head, please reach out, the Plant Movement Podcast, either on Instagram. All their information is down below, but if you want us to connect you guys with them, if you sit on a board, if you have a big issue, something that is with your county, your state, anything like that, anywhere in the world, I know you guys listen to us all over the world, this guy will go over there and he'll take care. He's called to do something big, and we always talk about your calling. We talk about going. We talk about being part of something that's bigger than yourself. And that's where you find full fulfillment and purpose. And look at what this gentleman is doing. I feel blessed to have him on today, as so should you. All right, whatever you guys are up to, keep it going. God bless you guys. Stay strong.
Time for the blueprint. Minds to elevate, thrive, and demonstrate, planting a movement. Sow the seeds, educate the flourish, building up the team. Our network with purpose, industry is green. Won't only scratch the surface, know this calling is deep. Nobody gonna outwork us. Yeah, we chasing greatness, trying to give the code. Moving up with patience, foundation stone. Doing what it takes, we're here to break the mold. This for anyone who wanna level up. Let's grow.